It's the moment of truth time, my friend. We have been talking about the 6 steps to the customer journey and really understanding not only how to define your customer, but helping them get to know, like, and trust you before they'll have the confidence to actually buy from you. And this week, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the buy step, which is the 5th step in the 6 steps to creating content for the customer journey and helping leads convert to customers. So I will also review 3 of the top reasons why a lot of prospects will abandon their shopping cart online. So if you've had some issues there, or you want to increase the conversions from people who have said yes to each of those micro steps along the way that you've invested so much time and energy into, helping them get through that process and ultimately find a solution that's going to best fit their needs, then you'll definitely want to watch the rest of this video. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, we're talking about the buy step in the know, like, and trust process. And when you think of all the steps that a prospect or someone who isn't familiar with you yet has to take in order to actually buy from you, they've gone through quite a bit of time and effort into investing in you and just really getting to know who you are before they'll actually trust and have the confidence in what you have to sell. So, and they ultimately want to know too, is it really going to meet their needs and solve this particular problem that they have? But a lot of times we spend so much time on content and conversations at the beginning of the journey or top of the sales funnel because that's where a lot of people are most comfortable.
I love syrup. Oh, I love it.
And really don't know how to connect the dots between each of those steps and help navigate their prospects to the actual buy process. And a lot of people just don't understand why they can't do the conversions at that point as well. So we'll go through the top 3 reasons why people abandon shopping carts online. So there are 3 things that I recommend as part of the buy process that you can do to help convert more leads into sales and decrease the abandonment rate, but increase your sales as well. So the first thing is setting the right expectations. If you're committing to the information up front on the amount of time it's going to take to get the product, is it instantaneous or is it a physical product that you actually need to ship to them? Be realistic in what they can expect in actually receiving the product or service and what they can expect after that as well. If you're having to go through and do an onboarding process or a download process, if you are sharing that information up front, you are reducing anxieties and increasing satisfaction of your product or solution up front before they even buy. Another way to tip the scales in your favor and convert more leads into customers is to share user-generated content. Now, what is user-generated content? I've actually talked about that in a video, which I'll link to here, but it's essentially social proof or testimonials that are stories that you can share of others who have experienced your product and your service and the overall buying process and had a great experience and are talking about it. What better way to market your brand than through the voice of your customers?
Listen up, this will only take a second.
And yet another way that you can help tip the scales in your favor and help more leads become customers is to provide some sort of incentive that gives those first-time buyers especially a reason to have confidence in that giving you their credit card and you giving them a solution is really going to work for them. So what you can do is to provide a coupon or a discount code, offer a money back guaranteed, have some structure around what that looks like. So it's not a forever money back guarantee, but depending on your product, your solution, or your service, set some parameters around what they can expect if for some reason they're not happy with their purchase. That will always give that added vote of confidence that you have their best interests at heart and that you're fully welcome to give back their money if what you're promising to deliver on is not a good fit for them. That's okay. And having that there is actually going to help them click that button and say, yes, swipe the credit card, let me buy from you, and let's get started. That's the point at this part of the process, is that you want to convert more people. So what can you do to incentivize them while maintaining the value of your product and your service and even your brand that's going to help them convert and actually buy from you? All of this really ties into relationships, right? And it could be either through voice and conversations, or it could be through your team or your brand and just the confidence and trust that you've built in having them buy from you. And that leads me to the marketing truth number 6 that I mentioned, the old truth marketing and the new truth marketing, which is relationships matter. And the new truth marketing is relationships are everything. And they really are. If you don't have customers or you don't have relationships, you can't have a business. So find ways to nurture those relationships, not just through the customer journey up to the buy process, but even beyond that. You're going to want to make sure all of the people involved in the implementation, whether it's your IT people or your accounting department with the billing, or the salesperson who's going to help with the implementation, or if you have a completely different team that's going to help with the onboarding process. When you have all these teams involved at the beginning with defining your persona, each step along the way from the customer journey to buy and even after will help all of those people and all of those different teams relate to what that initial brand impression was at the very beginning with your marketing. So hopefully that's helping you understand the reason why it's important to get different people involved and help them navigate that journey through the process, but keeping people informed and involved wherever they need to be based on their area of expertise. So it'll just help solidify your internal processes, but also give the customers a great experience no matter who they're talking to. You've likely got a sales page, and on that sales page, you've got a button that someone can click in order to start the transaction to purchase from you. At this point, they are fully committed to actually buying from you, saying, hey, here's my money. Take my money and let's roll with it. So that's what you want to look at as part of the buy process to understand if there are any snags along the way or any breakdowns in a process. And you can analyze that data to see where the drop off actually happens. We look at the top 3 reasons why people abandon their shopping cart. This was a study by Baynard Institute that has over 2,500 responses. And here's the first one. 55% of respondents say extra costs are too high. The second highest is 34% of respondents say the reason being is because an account is required in order to move forward. The third reason is at 26% that the checkout is too long. So those are the top 3 reasons why people will abandon a shopping cart. So let's take a look at that first one. When they say that the costs are too high, oftentimes that's because of the upsells. They know up front what the cost is, or at least they should. You should have that displayed someplace on the sales page. Now, don't get me wrong. Having upsells as part of your selling process or that sales page is highly recommended. I just recommend that you look at the number of upsells and the price tag that you have associated with each of those upsells. So if you go in with a one-time $27 product that someone's buying and you've got 5,000 extra upsells after that, people are going to abandon the cart, right? You need to be more realistic with what the upsells are. Even if you have a ton of things that you could sell them, once they're a customer and it makes sense to actually take them to that next step and keep them as a customer, that can be part of your retention strategy. If you're looking to convert more prospects into sales, you'll want to keep it simple. And I'm a huge fan of the rule of 3. So if you're going to sell one thing at $27, then maybe offer 2 upsells for a total of 3 products. And then look at the total cost that you have associated with those 3 put together. So if you're starting off with $27, but you want to make sure it doesn't go over like $149, then you want to make sure that you're creating those upsells that are in between there so that the total price at the end is still going to be realistic and set those expectations that if you say it's not going to cost too much, that really it doesn't cost that much. If you're going to go in and offer a product at $5,000 and then you start offering two more products that are $5,000 each, you're really jumping out of a range that people are probably expecting to pay for that particular product. So I would really look at the price that you've associated with all of your products before you integrate the upsells into that overall process. That will help reduce the abandonment rate of your shopping cart. The second thing was creating an account in order to continue. I will admit I'm extremely irritated when I'm trying to buy something and they are requiring me to create an account. It's just not necessary. In fact, I've gone through this so many times with my daughters who love to find things online for Christmas. They'll send me the links, and of course every year they're different because there's so many different clothing companies now that, early 20s, kids in their 20s are looking to buy from. And they'll send me the links, and of course it's a new brand. And I don't have an account, but as I go through that process, a lot more of those online retailers are offering a guest option. So I don't have to create an account. Always offer the option to have a guest sign out that limits the number of information that you need to provide. And it makes it super quick. And then you're reducing the annoyance aspect of that whole thing. Keep in mind who your ideal customers are, even throughout different times of the year. So even though I was buying from that particular online retailer, I'm not a target customer. I was only doing it because that was something that my 22-year-old daughter was wanting to buy from. And the third thing was that the checkout is too long. The checkout process should be easy. Don't ask a ton of questions that you really don't need in order to fulfill that order. If it's something they're going to get immediately and if everything's digital, then you only need very limited information. You don't need their address and their zip code and their country. You don't need to know how big their company is unless it's a subscription-based product that's based on the number of people that they have in their company. But limit the amount of information that you ask, and that will increase your chances of lead customer and really reduce your abandonment rates as well. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like. If you are not a subscriber, please click that subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll see it in your notifications whenever you log into YouTube, or you just look at your phone if you have those notifications turned on. Thank you so much for being here this week. I appreciate you and your time. Until next week, make today great.